Is this like, this is your dream room right here? Are you a car guy? This is your dream room?
Yeah. I ain't too, you know, I don't break this down too much. I just like these motherfuckers.
Do you spend your hard-earned money on cars? Is it a thing?
Yeah.
It's a thing?
Got a few. Yeah.
I feel like cars have been kind of central to some degree to your theme and on and off throughout your career. Like, there's definitely a sense that you appreciate what they represent. And I sort of wonder, like, what that is and when you first started kind of appreciating the idea of a fine automobile, and whether it's just deeper than beauty, whether it's, I don't know, something you aspire to and something that you set a goal for yourself.
I mean, you know, when you're young, you figure like, you know what I mean, get to a certain point, the car is like, you know what I'm saying, like, hop out something crazy, like that's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just something, but I mean, you know, I'm getting into it more and more now.
Yeah.
Cause I got more time to just like understand it more so, but you know, I'm still figuring it all out and shit.
And to appreciate success too.
They're like trophies, like timestamps.
Yeah. And I also think like manifestation is powerful energy.
Yeah.
The idea of imagining and dreaming something and setting yourself a goal to achieve it is really the secret source of everything that, you know,
right.
to anyone's success in any part of their life, right? And cars are just such a beautiful manifestation item. Like it's just...
Of course.
You know.
What's this?
I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy, bro. Like, I mean, it's not... I'm asking you all the questions. I don't know what this is. I was just saying, like, I mean, I've never been a car guy, but this is a crazy looking car.
Yeah.
It's nuts. First, we'll say good to see you, man.
Come on, good to see you, bro.
And thanks for taking some time and what is becoming tradition, I feel like. This time of year, this opportunity to bless us with something.
Yeah.
It was 2 years ago, almost to the day, we're having this conversation that you released an album that changed your life. And now we're back with another one. So you knew it had to be December. Like, it's a thing, it's a conscious thing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was dropping my project, I always try to drop around my birthday. But then, you know, that shit always, like, you always
give or
go
take.
over, you know what I'm saying? So Feed the Streets too, like November.
Yeah.
But then when I started dropping the albums, it was like a little more process. So then it started being December. So then that's just how it went. It started being December.
And this, I always wanted to ask you this, because the stories I heard about the box was that it wasn't even supposed to be the smasher. There were other people in your team, or there was an idea that it was going to be other songs were going to be the one that were going to do what the box did. And the box kind of took a few people by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back in history, like, I know I'd be like, delete my Instagram and shit, but the day the album came out, I had did a Triller. It's like the only Triller I ever did. I did it to the box because I knew.
You knew?
Yeah.
Why?
That was like my little sign, like, I know this is going to be the one.
So, okay, you're the only person then that I can ask this question to. What was it about that song? Thinking back now, 2 years after you put it out, what was it about that song that you knew had that special thing about it?
With different songs, you just have a feeling.
Yeah.
Like, even with Die Young, like when I did the shot to Blocker Blocker, like if you listen to the hook, like that's the first part of the hook where it's like, oh, like he did something different right here.
I love that part of that song. I mean, the way the way you deliver those lines, and even the opening line, the way you land in that song, like I ain't trying to die young. It's not even like you're on beat. It's like you fall over into the beat.
Yeah.
And then you pick it up with that shorter line. It's like, okay, but I'm back on and everything else. That's an important line, and it kind of speaks to this new record too, to some degree, because that idea of living life fast, and the first proper major statement you made, I know you already had Feed the Streets moving, but Die Young was an important moment for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that was the whole harmony of the album, where it's like on the intro we did the Live Fast, and then I remember I was like trying to think what my intro was gonna be, because I'm like, man, it's Live Fast, like Live Life Fast. And then I was listening to Teflon Don. That's a Rick Ross album, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then I had stumbled across it, and I know the song, but it just clicked in my head, like, damn, Live Fast, Die Young. Like, that was like a full circle, you know what I mean? So then I was like, all right, it, like, that's the meaning. It's like, now I'm here, but I'm still, it's still relative to everything that I ever went through, or everything
I like the fact that you
went
sort of took that moment, that Kanye and Ross moment, and you have sort of paid respect to it while it's still in the modern age. It still exists as a modern piece of art. It's not like I'm going back to the 60s and 70s and updating something decades later for a new generation. You're like, no, this means something to me only, whatever, a few years after it already came out. 10 years, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like with Ye, you know, he like real good, like, friend now. Like, I really be tapping in with Ye a lot, just having conversations, talking to him, just picking his brain. He'd be like, we be just having different conversations and shit, just on a creative tip.
And they can last for hours, right?
Right, and you already know.
When you contribute to the conversation like that, when he's in his flow, I always feel like you got to have something really valuable to add because he's just going so quick.
Yeah, I mean, but I just feel like that's how his mind worked. Like, he always been ahead, like always light years ahead. So you just gotta just pay attention to what he be saying. Cause sometimes, like, I remember the first time I had met Ye, I feel like this is why our relationship is how it is. Cause like the first time I didn't really get it. Like what this shit talking about? Like, I'm like getting mad. Cause I'm like, I'm just like, he just saying some shit. And I'm like, what the f? Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. But then like 6 months later, like 4 or 5 months later, I really just sat back and like thought about the exchange. And I'm like, damn, like that's what he was saying. And it just dawned on me so ever since that moment, like I just get outside myself and just listen. Cause it's like, he really be having some shit to say.
The thing about him is that he is a futurist and he's restless. If you could bottle it down, what's one of the most fundamentally important things you've picked up along the way from him, even if it's just an ideology or a change in philosophy, you know, or an approach?
In the time that I came around him, it was like a real, like I used to think that his mind was just like, it probably was so much going on, but then I started to realize like his mentality is actually real simple. And he just think outside of what people think. You know what I'm saying? Like we taught to think a certain way, whether it just be with, I don't know, the way we dress or the way we communicate, the way we, just different things that we do as humans. I feel like he look at things different, like how if he wanted to design a sneaker, it would be a tongueless sneaker. Or like he just like a real innovative thinker with like everything. I feel like it's not a specific area in which he like implies that shit. It's like he do that shit with everything. It's like the way he live. So like, that's something I really picked up on with him, where it's like, you don't have to think too hard. You just more so gotta think differently. I feel like a lot of people think hard to like try to get ahead, but sometimes it's not how hard you think, it's just how different you think, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's beautifully put. Man, you spent the last couple of years trying to sort of figure out your own thought process under the strangest of circumstances, because there's few people on the planet who can probably relate to what you went through, which was having this kind of unprecedented success and then at the same time not really being able to touch it, right? Because the whole world just kind of shut down. Now, it didn't stop your success at all, but you didn't get a chance to kind of experience it firsthand, like in a tactile way, like I'm here, I'm seeing the crowds, I'm here, I understand what this means to everybody else. What was that like? I mean, I'm trying to get away from quarantine conversations, but you're a unicorn. No one's had that experience like you had it. You're the biggest artist of last year.
Yeah, appreciate that. I feel like shit like that just keep you humble. You know what I'm saying? It was
a humbling thing.
Yeah, it just keep you real humble and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just put a lot of things into perspective when you talk about just life, you know what I'm saying? Where, you know, a lot of people like, down south or in the east, it's like they got to move around a little more than we did, because in Cali, like, it was real shut down. And then, like, I be telling my niggas, like I talk to Gunna all the time, like, I be like, I'm so far, you know what I'm saying, from niggas, because we really be locked in. We really be tied in, just fucking with each other, but it's just like, I don't be moving around really, because I'm from the city and I'm here. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like I moved to LA. Like, I'm really from here, so it's different for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, where, you know, I had to get out my spot, get out the area I was used to. Then I'm barely, you know what I'm saying? Like, just moving around different, cause really just being young, like, coming from where I come from, like, we heard about the Beverly Center through like Nipsey, like, he like talking about the Beverly Center, like, I'm getting these jeans from over here, like, type of jeans he talking about, like, this back when the nigga ain't know nothing about, you know, clothes or nothing. And he like just breaking it down, like, I'm at the Beverly Center, 500, this ain't the regular dinner. He's at some shit like that, like just, and I was just like, damn, what's the Beverly Center? And like, you know, just growing up over here is like making that crossover is different, like coming to the other side. Then you try to like manage it, cause it's just like, damn, do I keep doing what I used to be doing, or do I step out? And just being so far from everything and can't really, you know, and you really forced to just sit down and be where you at, you know, you gotta be real content with yourself, man. You gotta like really understand what's going on, keep your family close and shit like that, and always stay in your vibe. Like that's how I just maintain the essence or the reasoning behind why I do this. You know what I'm saying? I keep my family around me. Or
you exist in you're pretty close ranks. I mean, compared to a lot of your contemporaries who, when they have success and realize that there's a market for attention in their direction, run into it.
Right.
Like, it's there for me. Let me grab it, stay in the peripheral vision as much as I possibly can.
Right.
You go out the peripheral vision and decide when you want to come in. I don't feel like you live for that attention.
Nah, I never have, though. You know, before I was rapping, I really wasn't on Instagram. I really wasn't on social media like that. So, you know, me becoming who I am or being big like this, it don't change that, you know?
Yeah.
It don't change that part of me. You know, a lot of people think, you know, is he like timid, or do he like not like? It ain't that. It's just like, I don't, you know, that just ain't my style.
Are you introverted, do you think, a little bit?
Nah, it was back in the 80s, 90s, they ain't even have phones. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's like how I don't take pictures. You go to mom's house, granny house, like it's probably 3-4 pictures. Like, I don't take pictures, I don't do none of that shit. So, you know, it's like, that shit just outside of like just the type of person I am. I ain't necessarily introvert. I feel like Kendrick said, he said, I'm an antisocial extrovert. He said something like that in the song. I'm expressive. I could say what I want to say or do what I want to do, but I just, you know, I'm just real. Like,
you talk about Nipsey, man. There's an artist who means the world to fans and changed everything, you know, from Los Angeles to the world. And it's all just too tragic when someone's legacy becomes even more impactful after the fact. And you know, that speaks to the fact that he was cut down way too soon. You know, he left way too soon. But you know, he touched your career in a big way, and I wonder, sort of like, as we know, the marathon continues, and to do that, we've got to keep the legacy alive. So I wondered if you had like a specific memory or something you could share about him and his impact for you.
When you say he was impactful, like after, right?
Yeah.
I feel like to the world that was the case. But like, if you from LA or you from Compton or you from Long Beach, like this nigga was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know he probably wasn't necessarily like globally a star yet, but I just feel like being from here, like, you know, we know, like, you know how it's just certain gems and certain, like, when you from a place, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's things of that place that like people might not know.
Yeah, he speaks to the infrastructure
but, like,
of the town.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like if you know, you know, but if you don't know, you just don't know. Like, I remember it was people who didn't, like, you know, out of towns, like, they didn't really know who he was, but like in the city, like, he was like, I remember Dirk was like, I'm Chicago Jay-Z, you know, like Nip was like LA Jay-Z, like, and it wasn't just a conversation thing, it was like, it was an actual like thing, like, he owning his masters, you know what I'm saying? He buying up the block, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, you could catch him at your local gas station, like, on the real, like, hopping out Maybach, taking pictures with people, mamas, people, aunties, little niggas, like, he really would, like, that was him. Like, when you get all the hoods to just slide up on your store and you got the different religious groups pulling up and, you know, that's like, that ain't normal for nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like bigger than life, and that's the thing. Like, I just feel like people ain't really feel it until it was gone.
That's been something that I feel you've touched on in your music and in your art, is this idea of a life that's promised is unfulfilled, and you don't seem afraid to talk about the loss in your life, but in a way of like trying to make it precious, you know what I mean? Trying to make the most. And in a way, that's what the title means to me. It's like, live life fast. You know, it's like, no one has enough time to sit around and wait and waste time.
Right, yeah. And I feel like, even with the title, like, it was probably like the worst advice I got. My OG, he told me like, man, like, you should make a song, you know, fast. I remember to see like fast money, fast cars, like make a song like that. Like, and I'm like, you know, you just take it with a grain of salt sometimes, like what they say sometimes. And like, I feel like in hindsight, like just at that moment, we ain't know what this shit was gonna do. We ain't know Roddy was gonna be who Roddy is now. You know, but at the time, I wasn't trying to hear that shit. You know, cause I knew that like, that shit wasn't it even in that time. You know, cause you know, that shit just ain't it sometimes. So I just feel like in hindsight, just seeing everything that happened, as far as my life, as far as maybe his life, as far as other people's lives around us, and everything, it's just like, I had to speak on some shit like that with this album. Whereas like, I'm speaking from a perspective of a that, you know, got to a different point. And let me talk about how I got to this point. Cause you know, they say you make your first album, then you got your whole life to make your first album, you know, your whole life. And you talk about everything. But like with your second album, you got from your first album to your second album to make that shit, talk about mainly what went on between them two. If you're a real artist, you ain't just throwing shit out. It's like, you got that time. So it's like, that's really what I wanted to touch on when I'm talking about this shit. Like, you know, how was it from understanding where it was going to like now? And like, you know, really giving my fans a piece of knowledge on that and just trying to just drop certain science on them. Just talk, certain talk.
What's been the biggest growth you've seen in yourself over the course of that time, making this record? How have you changed? It's funny because a friend of mine who's over there, I hope she doesn't mind me telling you, but she showed a picture of you before quarantine with her kid. He must have just run up to you on the street and you were outside maybe the Griddle or somewhere on Sunset and you had your photo taken with him. And it's like, you look like years younger than how you look now, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder what you recognize the change in you in the last sort of 2 years and what's the prevalent thing on the record that you identify as different?
Money make you look older sometimes, you know, just dressing, you know what I mean? Dressing.
I mean, this is a nice piece, man. Let's be very clear.
Virgil, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just dressing
Absolutely.
different, and being in that way. But I mean, far past that, like psychologically, I feel like I know it's fucked up, but like a lot of the times I like compare the quarantine shit to like jail, you know, like just being in the house all the time. I feel like in those times, you know, us as people, you know what I'm saying, really had to just sit with ourselves and understand what was going on. I feel like at a time I was gonna even move out of LA.
Where would you gone?
I was thinking about buying a house in Miami. Been in Atlanta a lot of times, but you know, I feel like a lot of my friends like, man, you moving backwards. You in Beverly Hills, you gonna go to the, you know, you gonna go over there, but
I know a few people. I know a few artists who bounced out of Los Angeles in the last 2 years and moved over that side.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I spent a lot of time in those places. You know, I ain't never went to college. I dropped out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I be feeling like, man, like I ain't never really got to get out of the city. Like even though everybody, you know, you go to all these states, you see all these people, you move around all this time. It's just like, you know, you don't really get to sit and be nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was a thought in my head, but, you know, I kind of got over it a little bit and just stood my ground, stayed true to me and just, you know, stuck it out really, like toughed it out. Cause you know, you could always like run from some shit or feel like, you know, you gotta like move, but like I felt like just stand still and just figuring it out within myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that was
be
like
part of the solution.
The move.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like now, and this is going back to like a Kanye mentality, right? He said, man, my backpack, and he said it in an interview, but he said this shit, we was out of town, we was in Europe. And I'm like, yay, like, you ain't got no, like we bouncing out, me, Ye, Kiefer, like, it's just us, you know what I'm saying? Like, we bouncing out, we moving around, eating, like doing whatever we doing, like, just us. Like, my home is my backpack. Like, he told me this in the car, like, my home, my backpack. Like, my home is my kids. Like, they call me, like, that's where I feel like I'm at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, different shit like that. Like, so it just switched my mentality on, you know, like, what a house is. Like, yeah, I done, you know, mom's out the hood, granny out the hood, pops out the hood. Like, everybody out the hood, so it's not something I gotta worry about on that end. I feel like, you know, like, that was what I was doing before I was selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like try to make a selfish move and move myself. I feel like I wanted to put everybody else in a position before I ever took that step, that big step on my own. And with him saying that, it just kind of just brought me back to earth. Like, take your time. Like, you ain't gotta necessarily move too quick, because at the end of the day, your home, you could have a $10, $20 million house, but that shit may not even be your home.
Yeah.
That shit might start feeling like an Airbnb.
Yeah, that's right.
That shit don't feel like your home, because you might be there and it ain't shit going on. You got all the money in the world and it ain't shit in that motherfucker. You just got memorabilia.
Yeah, man, we've all seen cribs, bro. We've all seen the houses that no one clearly lives in.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I think there's something about the artistic spirit that Ye understands and that you understand now, and a lot of people I've met, you know, the real greats understand, which is like, you know, the journey is it. But in order to go and do that satisfactorily, you have to know that your home is always going to be there for you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Your home gotta be like within you. Like, the Bible say, like, your body is a temple, is a church. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that, like, I know it's different definitions you could find, but like, I feel like with that, it's like, you gotta treat your shit like, you know, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my temple, this is my church, this is my home. Like, this is what you know, I gotta keep the upkeep on, I gotta keep my mental straight. I gotta, like, if you ain't spiritually, like, cool within yourself, then it don't matter where you go.
That's a practice.
Yeah.
You know, to try to, you know, stay in touch with your inner voice and remain spiritually balanced is practice. Especially nowadays, society is just, man, I mean, any generation, any age group, any part of the world, there's a lot of stuff coming at you all the time.
You gotta block it out.
Yeah, but that's tough. I mean, what's your practice? How do you get yourself into a place where you know that you're effectively focusing on what's important and squashing all the other shit?
I feel like it's just a feeling. Like how I was telling you, like, you know, when your music is gonna touch certain people, it's like, it's a feeling. It's all just a feeling. Like, so if I wake up and I just feel off, or I don't feel right, something going on, it's not nothing that's gonna be tangible that I could touch. It's probably gonna be something that's like within me. And it's like, I gotta sit back and really understand what's going on within myself to like fix that, you know? The one thing I try to stay true to is just like growing myself to stay grounded and keeping my mind, you know what I'm saying? Like keeping my body and my soul. Like just keeping who I am and grooming that person, not trying to be outside of that or try to be nothing else.
This album, start to finish, you could tell by the way I reacted in the room the first time we listened to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear the work you put into it and the time you've taken to really make it special. Live Life Fast, recorded in a whole bunch of different places. I mean, yeah, Los Angeles was locked down and that was humbling, but it's not like you didn't travel and record it.
No, we moved.
You moved around, you found a way out. I don't know how, but you found a way out. So let's talk about some of the locations you went to and the kind of environment you established to make this record, because it was unique. It wasn't done in a recording studio, bricks and mortar, down the road. You moved around.
Yeah. We recorded a lot of the album in Chicago, Paris. Did we go to Aspen? We went to Aspen. Went to Hawaii.
This is just like the greatest album recording experience of all time. You cherry-picked four of the most idyllic locations to record music. So what's the day like? Like, let's just get into the granular. Like, what is it to record in Cabo? Like,
yeah, we was out there on the rocks, like right on the water, and
beautiful view.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather.
The first time I recorded out there was with my Trav, man. We was recording a lot of music, and I was just going in for days and days and days and days and days. Like, I'm just recording all type of shit.
And he's out there as well?
Yeah, we just going back and forth. It's my, like, we just going. So, like, that was like the first real vibe out the country for the album. that we was on. Just
how many songs you and Travis do you think?
Oh man,
albums with?
We got a whole wow. We got a lot of music. We got a lot of music. That's why I can't wait until, you know what I'm saying, the world can really get a grasp of it. But you know, with all respect to what's going on, you know, it's just it's tragic. But I just, you know, I can't wait until, cause that's like, he like one of them people that's like he a great, you know what I'm saying, he like a good energy to be around. Definitely like a good soul, a good person. You know, we made magic. I feel like everybody came out with a lot of shit coming from there. Yeah. It was just magic. And
is that when you got the bug for it? When you were like, I don't have to do this in one place. I don't have to do this in a place of business. I can do this, I can make my own business happen in places that make me feel excited and inspired.
I mean, yeah, you know.
Because how else do you end up in Hawaii and Aspen and?
Yeah, but I mean, we recorded everywhere. Even before that, like, we recorded everywhere. Bathrooms, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Just regular rooms. As soon as I started flying private, like I started taking all my equipment everywhere, like, cause I could handle it better, you know. So
did you ever record anything on the plane?
Hell no, that's one place I probably haven't. That's probably the only place I haven't.
Yeah, there might be some noise interference going on that, but
yeah,
still.
no, that's when I get my sleep, like on the plane mostly, cause like when I'm out in different cities, I really just be up all the time. I don't really sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like on the plane is where we get to sleep for real.
Do you ever wake up in a city and be like disorientated because that's where you're getting your rest is in the air, so not quite sure, like where am I at this point?
When you get on a certain level of like hustle, it's like this shit just come with it. It's like you just gotta just push through it. Sometimes you're gonna be tired. I mean, I just did a show in New York. I had food poisoning.
Oof.
Yeah.
And you did the show?
Yeah. That shit just come with the grind. You know, Michael Jordan had the flu game.
I saw the list of people on the album. Obviously, this conversation is going out right now. The album is everywhere. Like, we're timed it out beautifully so that it embellishes and amplifies this body of work. But I saw the list of people who are on the record, and dude, it's great. There's some old friends, a couple of new ones coming in there as well. Yeah. I love that you decided to invite Takeoff on the record. I think we talked about in the studio how, and no disrespect to Quavo and Offset, because as a group they're incredible, but if you have to pick one, he's my favorite.
My boys, yeah. I feel like we remind each other, because it's like, he just real, like, to himself. He ain't really, you know, Quay, you know what I'm saying? And then Offset, he Offset, but like Takeoff, he just be in the cut, just handling his business, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I want to congratulate him on the NFT shit. You know what I'm saying? He really did his thing on the Space Apes. You heard about it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 25 Million. I know that's one of the standout songs on the record for you because it's one that's like repping this album right now and our conversation and everything else. So tell us the story about making that song and why it ended up on the record, why it made the cut.
We was in Paris.
That's a good time.
Talking about Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? We was in Paris. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all a building block.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, I feel like we was in Paris just catching the vibe. Kiefer turned the beat on. I'm like, man, this motherfucker, it's one of them ones. I think it was like just that guitar in it, or it's like an instrument in it that was crazy. Like, it caught my ear. Loaded that motherfucker and did it. I think I did it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, what's your process when that happens? When magic strikes like that, how do you get it into a place where it's moving fluidly?
Yeah, it's just a flow. It's like water, you know? It's like, this shit just flowing. It don't stop.
It comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, when we was in Paris, I stayed up every night when I was recording. I was staying up till probably like 6, 7, you know, every night. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you in that vibe, when you out of town doing that, like, you gotta just be focused. Can't get too far off and just know what you there for. You know, I really was there to like buy clothes and shit like that. See what they had. I was gonna ask
if you got some time with Virgil when you were out there, because
I went to Louis, but I ain't link up with Virgil. I went to Louis. I bought this in New York. You know what I'm saying? This shit,
that's beautiful.
Fire, but yeah, I feel like he another one of them too that's a real innovator. And like I said, I never really got to have sit down talks with him or really got too in tune. But you know, Bobby Wesley, he like, it's my stylist. You know, he really be putting me down with the clothes and like putting me down with the game. He was just real in tune with Virgil and how he, you know, now like me and Bobby like teamwork. Like I really be going out doing my own shit, and like from him like just teaching me different shit, like it really opened my eyes up to like fashion and shit, like knowing how to really put shit together. But like Virgil was definitely one of them where like he was just an innovator with the fashion, like, you know what I mean? Like it was just cool to see really just stepping in between every line they say he couldn't and really dominating all them fields, you know, so.
That's what I love about like where you're at, because I mean, you're already at really like album number 2 proper, you know, obviously taking into account the mixtapes and the great collaborations you've done and all the success you've had. I mean, let's not forget, you know, the song with the baby, which was like coming out. So, I mean, that was competing with the box. The whole thing was bonkers. And so, you know, you've had this great success as a musician, but I sort of feel like I can tell already from the few times we've spoken that you are going to be that person. You are going to go and try all that stuff. And the music is the key that opens the door to the room, but you're going to put a whole bunch, like Tyler, you're going to put a whole bunch of things in that room.
Yeah, I feel like it just all come with timing and preparation. You know, when opportunity meets preparation, then that's the keys of like a successful story. You know what I'm saying? When opportunity meets preparation. So I feel like just always being prepared and like, you know, prepping yourself and
being ready to execute.
And getting ready, yeah. You know, that's like the whole game. If you ready, as soon as coach puts you in the game, you're gonna get the touchdown, you're gonna score because you ready. So that's like the main thing that we try to practice just in everything we do in all our endeavors. I feel like people think why he don't put out a lot of music or why he don't deal with a lot of artists or like, but it's like when I do that song with NLE Chopper and it go 3 times, or when I do that song with 42 Doug and it go platinum, when I do this song with, you know what I'm saying? It's like I could really pop the shit that just can't pop, because it's like some is just doing songs getting lucky. I'm shooting my shot knowing I'm a hit. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. So I'm real like sniper with that shit.
Deliberate.
For real.
Yeah, you do everything too. You write everything on your records.
Yeah.
It's your vision completely. It's really important.
Can't play with that one.
That's really important to emphasize that.
Can't play with that.
It's really important to emphasize that because, and by the way, no shade at anybody who's in a collaborative space or anyone who's working with co-writers, whatever gets the best end result.
Yeah.
That's what we're in this results game of getting the right music and the right thing out there. But I love that part of your story. Like it's obviously really important to you that you steer the ship.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that get to a point is like, you know, they probably, you know, just lose a little inspiration or get too wrapped up maybe in their own personal life to
or
where
busy,
they can't.
where you get so busy you have to rely on other people to help you keep the success up, because the success becomes the motivating factor and the work takes a back seat.
Right. So, you know, just with being able to be transparent with my fans and talk that shit, but do it at a high level.
Yeah.
You know, that's something to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? That's something to stand on. I feel like a lot of people would have lost it.
I mean, we were talking about fashion. Speaking of which, I know there's a song already before we even, you know, like I said, we're sitting here. It's not even a self-evident yet. But that Yves Saint Laurent track is going to be a serious problem because I mean, it's you and Kodak and 21 for a start, and I feel like that's some Avengers shit. And then like the track itself, which didn't have the features on it, because they all came in late, right? Like they always do.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. For sure.
It's like, all right, and we're good, let's go.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that song because, again, that's going to be something that people are going to immediately identify and gravitate towards.
Yeah, you know, shout out to Kodak and 21. I had hit 21 first, and he turned it straight in, went straight in. And me and Keith are like trying to sit back, understand, like, man, who we gonna put on this motherfucker? Like, man, it's only a few niggas. I'm like, man, we gotta call Kodak, man. He like, man, Kodak gonna be hard on it. Kodak went in. So it just fell into place for real. And I feel like people gonna feel that shit, something for them to really vibe to. It's gonna be something cool.
So for people who don't know, who are listening to this or watching this all over the world, someone who grew up here and has watched other artists continue to establish Los Angeles as a creative center and a place where it has its own unique culture, it can export around the world and stories it can tell. What is unique about this city to you? You're born and raised here, and you are without a doubt an LA artist.
Right.
You know, what is it about the city that makes it unique for people who don't live here and don't know what that is?
In this time, you know, one thing I'm grateful for LA is like teaching me about politics, because in the beginning of the career, you know, you still have to learn about politics. You still have to understand politics, like, at any level. I feel like that's something that I'm always grateful for the city for, because getting out of the city, I always understood the politics. And, like, it's always gonna be politics. I feel like that's what it put in my head. Aside from that shit, because that's like a more serious answer. But I feel like—
Wait, I love, hang on. What do you, define politics from your perspective.
All right, when you say politics, it's like, when you come to LA, right, it's like, just coming through the ranks, it's like, you gonna have to shake hands, you gonna have to, like, run into, you gonna, like, it's inevitable to, like, not run into, or, like, to, like—
Or play the game.
You gotta see everybody, you know? And I feel like a lot of people think I'm talking about Hollywood. I don't know a lot of people in Hollywood like that. Like, I'm not a Hollywood, I'm talking about the people that's on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you wanna move out here, go to the clubs, go do anything, you know what I'm saying? You gotta know. Like, Roddy could still go to Crazy Girl strip club, and it's love. I got power homies in there. I got, you know, Crip homies in there. It's like, they know the story. They know how I came up. It's like, one thing about this place is, like, they're gonna know how you came up. They're gonna know where you come from. The world may not know, but the city gonna know. I feel like that's something that LA taught me, and I feel like a lot of they could get away with it, but, like, in LA, like, they gonna pull your card, you know what I'm saying? And the bigger you get, the bigger the giants is when you talk about politics, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't go from, like, little street dudes no more. Now it's like, you know, we in these corner offices, and it's real stuff going on. So it's like, just being from LA, it, like, taught me all those politics, and I'm grateful for that, because it, like, you know, grew me up real fast. You know what I'm saying? Just being young and having to really deal with a lot of shit on my own, really have conversations on my own. I ain't never ran to nobody to, like, have a conversation for me, or, like, whatever. Like, I had to handle a lot on my own. So just going out into the world, it allowed me to understand that, like, just the politics. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, you get it, you know what I mean? But if you don't, then this will probably just be something you ain't listening to. But it's cool, you know what I mean? I just feel like LA taught me that. And outside of that, if you make it in LA, it's like New York. You know, you could like make it anywhere, kind of, like, because it's so, like, New York is so fast, but LA is so slow. So you could be moving so slow and somebody just pass you up. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, you got—
That's beautiful, that's perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
It's perfect. Well, look, one has this kind of tactile anxiety, which is everywhere, like New York and London, places like that. You go out there and it's just like you're bumping into people all the time, happening all the time. Here it all seems to happen in these quiet rooms and these behind these doors and like you say, these offices or these houses. There's never anything out there that you get a sense is like this external motivating factor, but it's there. And actually, Los Angeles moves faster than any city I've ever lived in.
You feel like that?
It's slow, but it's
fast. Though. On me.
I mean, for a place that's built on the beach and in the desert, people work harder in Los Angeles than anywhere I've ever worked.
I mean, one thing people got to put into perspective, this is one of the most expensive cities in the world. In the world. Not just the country, like, this is one of the most expensive cities in the world.
For sure.
So if you can still have your money while you're in LA, still be able to pay your taxes while you're in LA, but still slide how you slide and do what you do, you know, that's a big accomplishment, man, because it's, you know, LA is like one of the most expensive places. And so it's like being able to be in a place like this and understand what's going on, you know, that's a blessing, man. I feel like if I can do it here, I can muster up the energy anywhere, you know what I'm saying?
Can we sort of wrap this up on a slightly personal note? You know, it was interesting to me that in the course of quarantine and as your music was traveling and reaching billions of people and you're breaking statistical records and becoming, you know, album of the year, song of the year, you're also making some changes in your personal life, you know, and doing something which I'm now part of that club, you know, you became a parent and you had a kid. And I wonder how that's changed your perspective and altered your approach to life, you know, because that's such a whole other different book on the shelf than the success book. The success book, anyone can read and be inspired and try and make their own version of it. Becoming a parent's a different thing.
I'm still learning with the parenting thing, you know, still growing with it, growing with him. I feel like, you know, having a son just kind of taught me to, like, basically I felt like I was reborn. And when I say that, it's like, I feel like now I get to be reborn with my little, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm reborn. Like, I get to rethink, re-understand, you know, really analyze what it is to like start from zero, like age 0, and work your way up. I feel like as a person, sometimes we forget about all those different experiences, just being from young and everything, but having, you know, a young one is like, that's what you get to like really relive. You get to like go back and, you know, not right wrongs and shit, but just like really pay attention to how you redo this, you know what I'm saying? You get to relive your childhood or whatever it is. I don't know how to explain it, but.
No, that's exactly right. And that's how I felt when I became a parent. I think every parent feels that way to some degree. If you get connected to the experience enough, then you realize, like, to your point, all right, well, all the areas that I feel like flashed me by, or I don't remember that well, or I didn't do like how I wanted it to go, or how I would have liked it to go on for me, I get to impact someone else's life in that way. That's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah. So I feel like with him, I ain't trying to live through him, but I mean, I'm gonna just do like my pops did me. You know, my pops, he really just like told me a lot of shit, and it stick with me. So whatever he wanna do, you know, anything in the world, you know, I'm gonna make sure I'm always there to like give him everything he need to like be whatever he wanna be, you know? Cause I feel like a lot of parents get lost in like trying to relive through their kids and right their wrongs and shit, but like, I ain't on that. I really want this man to be whoever he wanna be. That's why I ain't name him after me. Yeah. You know, I'm named after my pops. I ain't name him after me because with my pops, I felt like I had to fill some shoes, which I feel like I did cool enough. But like with my son, I don't want him to feel like he gotta fill my shoes, because my shoes different, you know, like just my story, you know, leaving the house, I was 16, 15, like I don't want my son to be like that. You know, or having to make a lot of decisions on his own. I want him to always have somebody there for him to really like guide him through and not be so, have to be so like, you know, on it all the time. Sometimes you can fuck up, make mistakes, and it's cool, cause like that's what make you, you know. You know, as I, you know, continue the legacy, like, you know, it just, you know, family first.
So after Live Life Fast, what does the world feel like to you now? Like, I sort of feel like when any artist who first comes out is making those steps, that's trying to establish themselves to the point, it's almost out of fear. It's like, I've got to do this, I got to work as hard as I can, get my music out there as quick as I can, hustle as hard as I can, so no one can take this opportunity away from me. Like, I realize it's in my hands now, and I'm going to grab it, I'm going to do it. Like, that's omnipresent in the artistic field, or anyone who has an opportunity in life. Now, you've had the success of you know, Please Excuse Me, and now you've got Live Life Fast, which is your, you know, an important next step. So the question is, Roddy, do you feel like now it's yours to build, it's your legacy, no one can get in your way, like you have enough momentum and enough now to be able to do anything you want to do?
Of course. I felt like that this whole time, though. I mean, I had to reach heights for my own personal, but I feel like the world, you asked the question, you said, how does the world feel to me? Or like, it don't feel no different, bro. Like, I feel like the world is, you know, I don't want to say my oyster, because that's like kind of cliche, but like, I feel like the world always been that to me. Like, you know, I feel like everybody goes to sleep, wakes up, they still the same person. So in my definition, the world is, it's like you can only experience your world. The world is yours, it's been yours. Cause like you can only experience your own experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's only gonna be from your perspective. You're never gonna have nobody else's perspective. It don't matter if you come back to this, you an ant, or you a lion, or whatever. You're never gonna be, I'm not the cameraman, me, you, Katie. I'm not 4 people at once. I'm only Roddy, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like the world has always been in the palm of my hand, or like in the palm of your hand, in your in your perspective of it, as far as perspective, you know. So you gotta just take your different perspectives and your different experiences in this life and, you know, continue to go on. You know, the same I was making antisocial, that's not who's before these cameras right now. You know, it's a different person that I've grown, I understood. I'm still the same me, but I like done grew more, understand more, and I still feel like the world is in the palm of my hand. Even if I didn't have nothing, I still would feel that same way. That go back to the spirituality conversation we had. If a man feel this within himself, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. You know what I'm saying? If a man thinketh this within himself, then that's what it is. Can't nobody tell you nothing different. Can't nobody, you know what I'm saying? And this ain't law. At no point is this law, but you know, you could take your own interpretations out of it and really run it up, really figure it out in your own life, you know? So.